Morning guys, thank you very much for tuning into this video. What I wanted to do was give you a bit of a description on some of the work to be done in the property and really do it on a room by room basis. I mean, generically, yes, we're going to have to replaster the walls. Yes, we're going to rewire the house, unfortunately. But I wanted to just give a bit more detail as to some of our plans on a room by room basis. Let's start with the living room. The first thing is we're going to replaster the walls. Why are we going to do that? Simply put, there's just too much plaster fallen out, right? So if we look at the frames around the top, you can see these big holes where the nails have been pulled out and it's pulled the weaker plaster out. Just taking off the wallpaper and the fitted units here in the alcoves, you can see the plaster's just fallen off in droves. Also taking off the skirting board again, pulling out those old school nails and pulling out the plaster. So it makes sense to just replaster the walls. Also where we had those frames across top, the walls, we want to smoothen those out, and just so that you have the height of the wall from here, not just stopping here but actually going right up to the ceiling. So plastering the walls, giving it a really nice finish ready for painting and decorating. The other thing to do is the ceilings. Now the ceilings are Artrex, they're not asbestos, we've had them tested as I mentioned before, it's definitely Artrex. My plan was always to see if we could just skim over the Artrex with plaster. Unfortunately, a plasterer said to me not to do that. He did it before. Someone closed the door really hard and the whole plaster just fell to the ground. So it didn't bond quite right to the Artrex. That's his experience. I'm going to take his word for it. Unless you guys know differently, please leave a comment in the comment section below the video. Also plasterboard just provides additional support to the ceiling above. Fine, let's do it. Yes, we lose a centimeter in height from the ceiling, which is a bit frustrating because it's not really a tall ceiling or a tall wall. But it's okay. It is what it is. So plasterboard the ceilings, replaster the walls. Electrical work, so what needs to be done, of course, rewiring this room. You've got a plug socket here in the corner, which angles all the way up there, which isn't right. It should be wiring through the middle. So we need to move that electrical outlet. We want to put an electrical outlet in the chimney, potentially for a TV. We also, again, want to move this electrical outlet to the middle. We want to put an electrical outlet over here on this wall. This one here, you can see it's far too low. We want to move that to the middle. That's so low, it's going to hit into the skirting boards. And actually, they cut around the skirting boards when they did it last time. And then you've got an electrical outlet that's going to go behind. And then on the ceiling, we're going to get rid of this light and we're going to put 8 spotlights in the ceiling. The plasterer also is going to throw in some new door frames. So I think it's called architraves. I think I'm using the right terminology. So the frames around the door, we're going to get those replaced. And in due course, we'll get rid of these doors. We'll replace them with some nice glass doors so we can get a bit more light into the room. So that's everything for the living room. Let's move on to the corridor. So behind the door, we've got the corridor. I'm not going to replace the door. It's quite solid. The door frame needs a bit of work. I think we just want to strip the paint, repaint it, maybe fix the door frame. We could probably do that ourselves. The key thing out here again is to replaster the walls and redo the wiring. I mean, look at this. Bare copper wire coming through. And then as I was scraping the wallpaper over here, I kept hitting on something and you can see bare copper wire coming out of here, going to the light outside. There's also no doorbell for the property, believe it or not. So what we need to do is do wiring for the light outside, wiring for the doorbell. We also, look at this plug socket right here, right next to the radiator. If that radiator leaks, the water's going to go straight into that. So we're going to move and relocate that one right here onto this wall. The light fixture is fine. We'll just put some spotlights. Nothing else to do in the corridor. If we move to the kitchen, not doing anything in the kitchen, that will stay as it is for now. The staircase is an interesting one. If I turn this light on, I mean, you could barely tell the difference, but have a look where the light's located. It's not really over the staircase. So in the evenings, this staircase is quite dark. So what we've asked the electrician to do is to put some LED lights into the walls, not into, or rather, I don't know how you call this, but not into the side skirting on the staircase, not here, because one, it's a bit fiddly. Two, the staircase, we don't want to mess around with the structural integrity of that side panel or the staircase. So we're going to put it into the walls itself. There'll be 4 lights going up here. As you walk up, the sensors will trigger the lights. So as we move up the staircase, you'll have lights all the way up here. Just mulling over the idea of having a light over there and a light over here, so that as you come out of the second bedroom or come out of the bathroom, this light will turn on, this light will turn on. Then as you go down the stairs, those lights will turn on. This light, stupidly placed, look at it, where it is, will just, I don't know. But maybe we move it a little this way so that we can actually put a spotlight rather. Yeah, gonna have to talk to the electrician about that. The only other thing is this plug socket down here. It's a single socket. We'll turn that into a double and then move it closer into the corner so that we can put a corner unit and you can plug anything there, like a lamp or something. So that's the corridor and the staircase. Let's move on to the bathroom. We're not doing much work here. It's mostly just electrical work, really. The extractor fan, which is in the ceiling, again, most people might be used to having an extractor fan somewhere in here, venting out to the garden or to the back of the property. These guys decided to put one that had a spotlight that goes into a vent system. I was going to get rid of that and just go for a traditional one, but apparently the electrician said the venting extractor fans are actually quite good. They're quite strong, quite powerful, because you can have a whole of a vent and a separate system out there. It could be a bigger system. So we're just going to stick with it and upgrade it. We'll have a new extractor fan and vent system. But that's about it for the bathroom. We may add a shaver plug because, believe it or not, there's nothing here. You just got this window and there's no storage, there's nothing. So whether we put a cabinet here or a shaver plug, TBD on that as well. I'm not going to take you into the second bedroom just because we're not going to do any work in there. It's pretty okay. I mean, we need one plug socket to be moved, but it's not worth taking time out to show that. But let me take you into the master bedroom. So what are we going to do in here? Of course, replastering, of course, rewiring. You can see there's loads of holes from taking off the frames at the top. There's some big holes from taking off the skirting board as well. You can see here in the corner of this room, look at that. It's just the plaster's full. I mean, if I kick the rest of it, it will just completely come down. I mean, look, it's falling apart. That whole corner needs to be ripped out and replastered. There's a big hole down here from taking off the skirting. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was when I took the skirting board, actually. So yeah, look, the room needs to be replastered. Over here onto the bay window, actually, it's quite interesting. This is plasterboard with plaster around it. You can see there's a massive crack here, but actually, if you watch the house tour, look at this. As I was taking off the wallpaper, I used the scraper really hard and this fell off, and then I thought, I want to just see how easy I can pull it off with my hand. It was so easy. And that revealed this massive gaping hole which goes straight into the loft. Now, the joist here is fine. It's not damp, but we think that damp, water leaking from the roof because of the missing tiles and the block gutters was going in here, causing that damp on this wall for sure, but potentially softening this plasterboard. So really simple, remove the whole thing, put a new plasterboard. This damp isn't a huge issue. Again, we think it's the block gutters and the leak from some tiles missing. We've resolved that. We just need to replaster, redecorate. Nothing to do really on the chimney. In terms of rewiring, this plug socket, which is far too low, it's going to bump into the skirting board, so that's going to be moved to the center and into the middle. We are then going to put this plug socket further up. We're going to take that plug socket further up, take that plug socket completely off. I mean, it's not even embedded in the wall. We'll put two plug sockets left and right. Again, some of these will have USB, some of them won't. The ceiling, again, is Artrex, so same plan as the living room. On the walls, we'll sand those down and plaster or skim those, but the ceiling is going to be plasterboard again. And then we're also going to put a spotlight. So we'll remove this pointless light here in the corner of the room. 8 spotlights are going to go into the ceiling. And that's pretty much it. I am thinking about potentially putting another radiator in here, specifically under that window. Before, the wardrobe was here, so the bed was on this wall. But if we put the bed here, we're going to get quite cold, and I'm worried about damp from that window. So there's no curtain. It doesn't even open, really. It's just a stylistic window. Again, a quirk of the 1930s build. But yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the work for the master bedroom. Final thing to mention now that I'm back in the corridor is that we are going to put wireless access points into the walls. So the electrician has given a decent price for getting Ethernet cables into the walls and wireless access points. So we're not having Ethernet in the rooms, don't really need it. But what we are doing is doing the wiring in the walls for access points. So what we'll do is there'll be an access point in the ceiling, or not in the ceiling, potentially in the wall. It'll be a TP-Link device that has some Ethernet cables in there, so that means we can actually connect to Ethernet if we need to. Then as I come down the stairs, there'll be another access point on the wall, I don't know, over here, somewhere here. So at the moment, we've got this EE hub, and this covers the whole house as it is. So moving to a wireless access point and putting 2 of those, one up and one down, will be just fine. To be honest, we want to do that because we have the opportunity to do that, but also that BT hub is there right now. I'm going to have so much smart connected devices and some of them will have to plug in. This corridor is not big. It's going to be a total eyesore. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the internet through the floorboards into the kitchen, into the pantry underneath the staircase, then do the wiring upstairs and downstairs for those wireless access points. So that's pretty much the plan for now. We're not going to do anything to the kitchen. We're not going to do anything to the conservatory. The garden warrants a separate video, I think, when it's a bit warmer. In terms of external to the property, we're thinking about rendering because the rendering is already kind of peeling off, but that may be a next year project. The only other gaping thing to think about is solar panels, right? This property is a south-facing property, and I really, really want to do solar panels. I'd love to do it right now if I could, but I don't have the budget for it. Hence why I'm on YouTube. Cheeky plug to any affiliate links in the video description. But honestly, that's everything that we want to do right now. Thank you very much, guys, for taking the time to watch this video. As always, if you like the video, please like, share it with any first-time buyers, anyone who could give us some tips and tricks on renovating this property. I'll do a separate video on quotes and whatnot, and when work starts I'll try and do some filming with the contractors. Once again, check out the video description for any links to the camera that I'm using or anything that I've mentioned in previous videos. You'd be supporting the channel, helping us with our renovation costs. But otherwise, thank you so much for taking some time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.